I love it! Good. I love it!
Did you ever wish there was a game that was based loosely on the Running Man movie? Then maybe Smash TV might be the game for you. Smash TV is a 1990 arcade video game created by Williams Electronics Games. The game sports a unique dual-stick configuration in the same vein as 1982's Robotron 2084, where one stick is for moving and the other is for firing. The plot centres on a dystopian television show during the then future year of 1999, where one or two contestants must shoot their way to fame and fortune. The show is taped in front of a live studio audience, which is broadcast via satellite worldwide. The goal of the game is to kill or be killed, and once all of the challengers in each arena have been massacred, the contestants will proceed to survive the next gauntlet. It was very similar to Robotron 2084, in that the player has to clear whole screens of enemies before they can progress to the next screen, except, unlike in Robotron 2084, where all the enemies are present at the start of a level, Smash TV has the enemies come out in stages. The screen can get really full of enemies really quickly, but thankfully, amongst all the toasters and VCR prizes, there are weapon power-ups to help the plucky contestant wipe out the advancing enemy horde. The action is set across multiple boards over 3 different levels, with each level having an end-of-level boss that seems to take an eternity to kill. I mean, just look at this.
Big prizes! I love it!
Visually, Smash TV is quite impressive, although it wouldn't be hard to make the game look good against a sea of some of the dullest backgrounds ever seen in a video game, and with tiny sprites and lots of tiny enemies as well. You won't see a lot of detail other than the limbs and bodies exploding when they are killed. But what do you expect from Williams? The masters of puerile entertainment and producers of other tasteless games such as Narc and Mortal Kombat. The sound is pretty lacklustre as well, with some what sounds like sampled gunshots and terrible sounding explosions. But the music is pretty catchy actually. In fact, I have found myself humming this tune a lot over the last few days. and the sleazy announcer giving it the big money, big prizes, I love it.
Big money! Big prizes! I love it!
But is the game fun to play? Well, actually, Smash TV is fun to play for about 5 minutes. And then it becomes very boring very quickly. The dual stick controls adds a little bit of spice to the proceedings and do take a few minutes to get used to. And I have to say, it works well. When I seen this game in the arcade, I had flashbacks to my experience of Robotron 2084 in the arcade. I put in my money only to discover the second stick was broken, and so I couldn't shoot anything. This was a memory that never left me, and so when seeing this cabinet, I had some bad memories come flooding back. But a mate of mine who liked a lot of gore in his games wanted to give this a go so badly, and so I obliged him. As I said, it was fun for about 5 minutes, but to be honest, once you have done the first level, there is no need to progress. The backgrounds don't really change all that much, and in fact, nothing much changes at all. And this was a bugbear of mine with Williams. They made some good games that were fun to play, but then made them either too long, or too tough, or very gory, and in the case of Smash TV, it was all three. Afterwards, I cannot say I ever felt the need to play this game again, but I did end up getting it for the Super Nintendo. The SNES version of Smash TV is excellent, but let's not get carried away here. It's an excellent port of a boring game. There are some big surprises in this game, especially for a game on the Super NES. The first one being, just about all the gore is left in there. You can't see limbs flying about all over the place, but there is a fair amount of blood, which was a bold move for Nintendo. The second surprise is that there is no slowdown at all, none that I could see anyway. And it's not like there are no enemies on the screen. At times there are loads and loads of them. The SNES controller lent itself very well to this port, with the D-pad being used to move the player about. The buttons on the right were used to shoot in the directions, and when I played this, I was surprised at how well it worked. Visually, there are some subtle differences, but not much, and certainly nothing that affects the gameplay. But overall, it is a fairly accurate representation of the arcade original. The sound is pretty much spot on to the arcade as well, with the catchy tune and sampled announcer speech being included. Gameplay wise, it's every bit as boring as the arcade original. Yeah, it's still fun for 5 minutes, but it gets boring very quickly. The game was well received by critics for both the arcade and the home format, but I just couldn't see what all the hype was about really. So why did I end up with it for the SNES? Well, that is an interesting story. Back in the 90s, magazines would run adverts for premium rate numbers which had a quiz on the other end of the line. And so I decided to phone one, but not from my house. That would have been ridiculously expensive. Instead, I called the number from my phone at the school office. This was well before the days of mobile phones, and so I made out I had to call home for something. Once the school assistant dialed the number, I just waited for her to leave, hung up, and rang a different number. The competition never mentioned what game it was, but I thought, hey, if I win, it's a free game. A few weeks later, a parcel arrived from the competition people, and it had Smash TV inside. It was brand new as well, still sealed, and on the US format. So I played it a few times, but then I traded it in. I think I traded it in for Turtles in Time. I forget what game it was, but who cares? It was a free game, and that's all that mattered. Anyway, I would say Smash TV was a game of its time, and that is where it belongs, frankly. In the past, as it's pretty boring. It's not rubbish, it's just boring and is probably best avoided. But that's just my opinion. And that was my look back at Smash TV. If you like this video, then please do give me a sub and a thumbs up, or maybe even a comment or two about your memories of Smash TV. And that's all from me, folks. Thanks for watching.